What's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to the sixth episode of the Down South Bills podcast. I am your host, Devin Long, and you can follow me on X at Down South Bills. Please like, share, and subscribe. And with that being said, let's get into the pod. Today is my instant reaction to the Bills' heartbreaking loss to the Texans. I've watched the All 22, so I'll walk you through what I saw and what it means. So my opening reaction, this one was frustrating. Sloppy football. The injuries continue to stack up for us. It seems like every year we have major injuries just stack up, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I mean, the tone was set early by the Houston Texans. The first Houston Texans drive, they had a drop on first down, and then bad tackling on second down, turning a short gain into like a 6 yard gain. And then Trey White gets beat, but Mills misses the throw on like a deep ball. So opening drive, we got bailed out, got a three and out. So it kind of looked good for the defense early, but you could really tell that the Texans were going to be able to get whatever they wanted, even with Davis Mills at quarterback, if only he could hit the throws. And so, really, the early stops were really just because Davis Mills was inaccurate, but not really great defense from the Bills by any stretch. Special teams penalties put us in a terrible field position all night. It seemed like we would get a return on punt return, or we would get a return on kick return, and there would always be holding, and that would just set us up terribly. Like, we go from possibly starting at the 30 or the 25 to then starting at the 15 or the 10, and it was just terrible field position. And then contrast that with them getting some good returns on us, so they're starting in good field position all night. So just a terrible day from the special teams. But the Bills' early drive, the first offensive drive, it looked pretty promising. We started at our own 19 because of the special teams penalties, as I mentioned earlier. Nice early run by Cook. Reggie Gilliam opens up a hole. And then I thought we had settled in at that point. I thought it was going to be a good game. I thought we were going to run away with it, maybe win by 6.5 points. It was a live bet I took, Bills by 6.5, and I took it after I saw James Cook get that first touchdown. We were up 6-0. This was before I saw the extra point, which was really a sign of things to come. Matt Prater, he misses the easy extra point. And then, I mean, that was our sign. I mean, we probably couldn't see it at that point, but that was our sign. And it turned out to be big when she gets to the end of the game, and we had to go for the touchdown because we were down four. But if he had hit that, we could have trotted him out there for a game-tying field goal. But second drive, another hold on special teams, pins us at the 15. We run another Shakir screen, which is predictable at this point. I know they sometimes work, but on a defense as good as the Houston Texans, I don't think you can expect a screen to Shakir to be working. I mean, I know we had one work to Ty Johnson, which is probably a good little wrinkle to do against them. But the ones to Shakir, I mean, everybody in the league everywhere knows that we run screens to Shakir. So I don't think that the Houston Texans, one of the best defenses or the best defense in the league, is the team to be running the Shakir screen against. Maybe we throw a fake screen at them on a Shakir screen to start off because they're expecting it, but didn't think that was the play call there. And then Josh hurts his hand on the very next scramble where he hesitates. I felt like he could have ran and got the first down, but he obviously wanted to throw the ball down the field, which sometimes is a fault of his. I mean, I feel like, of course, you want Josh Allen to be safe. You don't want your quarterback to be taking that many hits, especially next year. He'll be 30, but I mean, he had the lane to get the first down. It was 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and he had the lane to get the first down, and he ended up getting 3 yards, getting tackled from the back. So if he would have just been running, he would have probably gotten tackled 3 yards. He would have probably gotten 3 yards and then gotten tackled the additional 3 yards to get the first down at minimum. So I feel like he should have ran there, but he did get his hand hurt. I hope that he's okay. Hope that I know he'll probably deny the X-rays as he always does, but I don't hope that can I hope that doesn't affect his throwing going forward, because it did seem like his throwing hand, so it didn't affect him in that game, but like adrenaline rushing, it wouldn't probably affect him, but maybe the next day today, maybe it's a little swelling going on. So I hope Josh Allen's okay, but do think that he could have scrambled on that play. But Gabe Davis gets us out of our own end zone on the next drive, and then Cook gets another chunk, and Palmer gets involved. I really feel like Palmer's role should evolve, but I know that he's a new to the team. I know he had almost the full, well, definitely the full off season with us, so I feel like he should be a little more integrated. But I know that he did have the injury which set him back. But I do think that he should be more involved. I think he's open a lot more than Josh Allen thinks, and when Josh Allen's forcing the ball to somebody like Elijah Moore and getting an interception, it does make you think that hey, maybe you should try to get the ball to Joshua Palmer a little bit more. But penalties continue to back us up. Fourth and short, we have a big pass to Ty Johnson, but then we hand it to him instead of Cook on the very next play. So I think that got us to like the 12-yard line, as I was looking at it. And then the very next play on first down, we give it to Ty Johnson. I think he loses two. But I feel like Ty Johnson is great for our third down back. But I don't think he should I don't think he should be in on first down in the red zone instead of James Cook. I just don't think that's the formula to win. But then on the very next play, Josh Allen gets sacked. So I mean, we're set back after Ty Johnson loses on first down, and then Josh Allen gets sacked on second down. So third down, we're third and what, 22, 23, and we're in the red zone. But I mean, we gotta kick the field goal at this point, because third and 22, you don't really want to take a risk and throw an interception. So yeah, penalties really hurt us all night. But yeah, really just a up and down day from the offense. Didn't like how Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins were getting cooked the entire game. I feel like Spencer Brown was playing hurt a little early, and I feel like he should have came out a little bit sooner. I know that we did have a holding call by Vandermark late, but do think Spencer Brown still could have came out of there earlier the way he was getting cooked. But I mean, maybe the backup gets cooked just as bad, because looking on the other side, Deion Dawkins is a Pro Bowler, possibly an All Pro type of player who's just getting. I mean, Will Anderson's just cooking him, cooking Spencer Brown, and then Danielle Hunter's cooking them both. So really, just a rough day from the tackles. We usually are a team we have a strong offensive line, top three, top five in the league, and usually our weakness is our interior. The guys like Torrance in the center. So I don't really think that it's a bad sign. I think that that's just a good team who has two good rushers. But I don't know. It was a terrible game from those tackles. Deion Dawkins leads the league in false start penalties. Think he needs to get that figured out. He may have I think he was evaluated for a concussion yesterday. But yeah, I hope he's okay as well. Really just want to see him bounce back and stop getting as many penalties, because we do know that he's a very good player, and that's not really something that has defined him throughout his career. He's been a pretty solid tackle who's gotten better over the past years and really earned his money. Same with Spencer Brown. So really looking for those guys to bounce back and hoping that Spencer Brown is okay. But if not, I think Vandermark has some experience being that sixth lineman at times, and I think we could really do well for the amount of time that think Spencer Brown will be out. He was going back into the game, so it can't be like a super long term injury that'll keep him out the season. So I do think Vandermark's someone that can hold us over to get to the wild card, where it seems like we're unfortunately gonna be. So yeah, the Texans take momentum. On I think their third drive of the game, Mills hits Nico Collins deep. Then Deion Walker gets a face mask. So then suddenly they're just in scoring position. The run defense is collapsed on fourth down and one. We have Teron Johnson filling the hole on fourth and one, and he just gets trucked for 3 yards. So hindsight is 2020, but on fourth and one, you kind of feel like you wish Shaq Thompson was in that spot, so Shaq Thompson could be a little bit more stronger person at the point of attack, because Teron Johnson, although he tackles well, he is built like a corner safety type, so really kind of difficult to have him try to tackle a really strong physical back on fourth and one and be the only one there. But yeah, then we do have on that drive we have some misses by Mills. He hits Harrison in the back, who gets beat on a go ball, and then Poyer played it well, got a game save, got a not a game saving, got a touchdown saving PBU, where he kind of tipped the ball away, but Davis Mills really threw that at his back as well. So didn't really think that Davis Mills was on it early, but then I mean, unfortunately for us, we left Christian Kirk open on a touchdown, basically gifted it to him. So Davis Mills absolutely couldn't miss that. He seemed like he made it more difficult than it needed to be, but he couldn't miss him as wide open as we left Christian Kirk open on third down nonetheless. So third down in the red zone to a bad red zone team, we give up a wide open touchdown. So just more signs of things to come. I mean, we lose to a guy like Davis Mills. No disrespect to Davis Mills, but once you get Davis Mills off of his first read, as we saw even in this game, he's not someone who can make all the throws, but if you leave someone open, obviously any quarterback in the league can pretty much hit a guy wide open. So that was pretty much problems for the Bills all night. Just busting coverage by Trey White mostly, some by Jordan Poyer, which I think it was only one or two, mostly by Tre'Davious White, which I don't understand why him and Harrison are still splitting reps. I guess that's a question for Sean McDermott if someone in the reporting room would like to ask that. But yeah, just another bad day from the run defense as well. Just not tackling well. I feel like sometimes we're in the gaps, but like for example, someone like Terrell Bernard, he's a small linebacker. So if our defensive tackles are not filling the gaps right, and with Ed Oliver not coming back until the first round of the playoffs, it's hard for our D tackles to fill up space. We don't have like Deion Walker. He's out there fighting double teams and doing a pretty good job, but we also need someone beside him, and it's guys like Ogunjobi who have splashes every now and then, but aren't guys who consistently can, get into the backfield or fill that space. So a guy like Terrell Bernard is getting blocked by a guard because I mean I mean he's not big enough to take on that block. So we either need to get bigger at linebacker somehow and play Shaq Thompson more and maybe move Bernard out a little bit, or find a way to get a little bit more mass or size in that defensive tackle room, maybe with a practice squad signing or someone young that we can kind of take a shot at. The next drive, we have the first play of the next Bills drive. Josh Allen throws that interception, a pick six, and luckily there was block in the back, but I'm not really sure what he saw there. James Cook was wide open underneath. Gabe Davis was fairly open underneath, and it looked like Josh Allen was pressing, but the penalty bails us out. But still a huge momentum swing with Josh Allen trying to force that ball in there and getting a turnover. Turnovers are the real issue for us. In the last three games, we have three. In the last 3 games, we have 3+ turnovers in each of the game. And I know we won against the Buccaneers, but turnovers aren't a recipe for winning. I saw the stat that Dan Orlovsky put out this morning. He said last year we were a plus 24 in the turnover battle, and this year we're a -2, and that's just not a recipe to win. Even if our defense isn't gonna get the takeaways, we can't continue to give the ball to the other team. It's just not gonna be a recipe for success. Sometimes punting is okay. Sometimes leaning into James Cook is okay. If Dalton Kincaid is out, I believe James Cook should get 30 carries. Last night James Cook had 6.8 yards a carry and 17 carries. I don't understand why James Cook didn't get the ball more. We had first down plays where James Cook would get 6 yards, and then the very next play we play action and get absolutely nothing. And then we're in third down and manageable, but we're in a rougher third down because we didn't just give the ball to James Cook on second down. James Cook is a guy who, if he's running well, we can continue to give him the ball. He's shown that he can handle that. And so I think that Joe Brady just sometimes has the plan that, hey, we have Josh Allen, we're going to throw the ball. But if James Cook is running the ball well and we have a guy like Kincaid out who is one of our main weapons in the passing game, it's okay to lean into James Cook to win that game, because I believe if we leaned into James Cook yesterday more against Houston, I believe we would have won that game. One time when we went for it on fourth down, yes, maybe we didn't get it to him, but if we run a play action there, we could probably get that first down. Or the plays before that when we decided to throw it 2 straight times, maybe if one of those were a run, he would have been able to get the first down. So it's just Joe Brady, sometimes he just gets away from the running game, I believe, too soon. So I just think that he should really lock in on that more, as he did last year at times, a little bit this year at times, even still. But I think that Joe Brady just really needs to lock in on the play calling, and I know that Sean McDermott, as a defensive coach and a guy who likes complimentary football, is in his ear. So really just yeah, looking for the offense to get that spark through James Cook when it's not working in the passing game, and not force it, and just know that punting is okay, and not forcing those turnovers, so that we can continue to stay in good field position, not have as bad field position as we've had recently. And so one bright spot that was in the special teams was Ray Davis's return. Of course, he had a nice little spin out and then juked the kicker, of course, as he should, and got us a nice little boost there. But then we turned around and let Davis Mills drive the field in like a minute 30. So really just wiped out the great return by the young guy Ray Davis in his second year. So then we have injuries that continue to pile up. Bernard and Harrison both go down in this game. Harrison seemed like a head injury. I think he's being evaluated or was evaluated for a concussion. So I hope that he's okay. Hope that's not like a long lasting concussion. But he is a guy who's not necessarily on the smaller side, but he is a guy who's a little bit smaller. I think he's what, like 195, 6 foot, or 5'11" or something like that, but not too small. But he is a guy that's sort of on the smaller side. So really hope that he's okay and not something that's going to hold him out for a long time. But hopefully, whenever he does come back, we can get Trey White off the field a little bit more. As I mentioned earlier, not sure why those guys are still splitting reps, but hope to see the rookie back healthy. McDermott, he can still. I think the good news for the Bills is the defense can only get healthier. It literally cannot get any worse. We have Ed Oliver coming back the first week of the playoffs. I think we'll comfortably make the wild card. I could be wrong the way things went last night, but I do think that's a very special defense who did some things to us last year and proved that they can do it again. So hope we can avoid those guys in the playoffs. But I think other than that, McDermott has some good game plans for guys like Bo Nix or Daniel Jones. I know that Denver has a very physical defense, but I think as long as we have Gabe Davis, Joshua Palmer, Dalton Kincaid, and Khalil Shakir, I think those four guys, and James Cook, I think those skill players, if those five are healthy, and then we have Ed Oliver back early, I think we'll be a team that really should be reckoned with in the playoffs. Because as I mentioned on a previous pod, I believe 2 episodes ago on episode 4, I do still believe that the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens will be the teams there at the end. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I think the regular season isn't always signs of what the playoffs will bring. And I think that some of these younger teams, it's their first year in the playoffs. I think that'll really show, and I think the teams that have been there for a while will come out on top in the end. But I do think that some of those teams, I mean, obviously some of those teams could play each other, like the Colts and the Patriots could essentially play each other maybe the second round or something like that. And I think those games, I mean, obviously somebody could get to the AFC Championship, but I do think the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs will ultimately come out of the AFC. I could be wrong, it's always good to have some parity in the league, but I think next year will be a more likely shot for guys like Bo Nix and Drake May. Not a big believer in Daniel Jones, but I mean that's a story for another pod. So, big picture, is it time to panic for the Bills? I don't necessarily believe so. I think for sure the division is gone. I think we're not the favorites anymore. But I also don't trust teams like Denver, New England, or England or Indy to sustain real playoff runs. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Like, I mean, it's the NFL. Like any given Sunday, as they say. But I do think the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens will still come out of the AFC, and I think the Chiefs have a tough one with Indy this weekend, and the Ravens have a tough path to winning their division. But I do think those three teams are still be there at the end. So ultimately, I don't think it's time to panic for the Bills, but as I said, I do think the division is probably gone with New England playing a third place schedule. Their schedule is pretty light in and out, and I do think if we get Kincaid back, keep Cook as the engine, and then have Gabe, Shakir, and Palmer playing well, I think we can beat anyone. And I think we'll definitely probably have a home game if it's against like a team like the Chiefs, like late. So hopefully, both of us can get some upsets against a teams like Denver, New England, or Indy, and then meet, and then we ultimately get that home game against a team like, say, the Chiefs. So I think we can beat anyone as long as we get a little bit healthier, but health is always the thing. Health is luck in the NFL to me, and I feel like it really just depends on who's healthy at the end of the day. So I hope Buffalo can be one of those teams that's healthy, and then have Josh Allen playing some Josh Allen football. Because as we know, in the playoffs, Josh Allen has some of the best statistics, and in the playoffs, he's a monster. He's not turnover prone in the playoffs, as people say. He's actually one of the least turnover prone people in the playoffs, and just a dynamic guy who really shows up in the playoffs. So I believe if his defense can help him out this time, I believe we can still go as far as we want to go. I just think it'll look a little bit different with us, possibly and almost guaranteeingly not winning the division this year. So in closing, just want to say, turnovers is still the biggest thing for me. We're as Dan Orlovsky tweeted out, we're -2 in the turnover battle this year as a whole, and last year we were plus 24. So really just have to clean up the turnovers. And last night our offensive line got bullied, so hopefully those guys can play a little bit better. And then special teams, I know we hired Tabor to be special teams coordinator, and he's supposed to be one of those guys. So really need to see that special teams step up so we can have some better field position. But yeah, I still think we're a legitimate threat in the AFC, and don't think it's time to panic. But some of the stuff that I did mention does kind of give me a little bit of scare and pause. But we'll still see going on the rest of the season. Still some games to play and some things to kind of figure out. So hopefully Bills can pick it up. So thanks again for listening to the pod. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. Please follow me on X at Down South Bills. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And go Bills.